Good morning, children. Hope you all are fine. Let us start a new chapter, that is second chapter from economics, sectors of the Indian economy. So I am starting from page number 19. Let us look at these pictures. The pictures are given on the right side and the down side. All the pictures, different activities they are doing. Okay. Let us look at these pictures. The pictures you can see, you will find that people are engaged in various economic activities. Okay. Some of these are activities producing goods. These are the final products, some of the goods which we call it as a final activity. Some others are producing services. Some are giving, some are making, constructing. These activities are happening around us every minute. These type of activities you can see from around yours, all you can see even as we speak. How do we understand these activities? We have to understand first of all the meaning of the activities. Like one way of doing this is the group themselves using some important criteria. Now these economic activities, which are the activities, we can divide it into three groups. These groups are also called the sectors. We call it as a sectors. So first of all you have to know about the meaning of the sectors. The sectors are the group of economic activities. What we earn from these three activities, we call it as a sector. Now which are those economic activities? Like primary, secondary and tertiary. Now next page you turn, page number 20. Page number 20, there are many activities that are undertaken by the directly using natural resources. First of all, like primary activity, the people are engaged direct to the nature. Okay. Take for example the cultivation of the cotton. Now for example, how we get the cotton, how we can cultivate the cotton. It takes place within a crop season. Different types of seasons are engaged with different cultivation. For example, the growth of the cotton plant, we need some nature things mainly, but not entirely, or natural factors like rainfall, sunshine and climate. Different nature plant is different depending on different factors. The product of this activity, cotton, is a natural product. You know, nature things, the direct what we are getting. Similarly, in the case of an activity like dairy, the milk products, how we are getting, it is depending on a biological process of the animals and availability of the fodder, etc. The product here, milk, also is a natural product. The milk what we are getting, it is also depending on the nature thing. Similarly, minerals and ores are also natural products. The direct what we are getting, the minerals or the ores. Ores are what? Ores are the raw form of the minerals. When we produce a good by exploiting natural resources, it is an activity of the primary sector. The ore which we are getting, the first stage from the mineral, from the mines, we call it as a primary sector. Why primary? This is because it forms the base for all the products that we are subsequently made. These are the ores are depending on these activities. Since most of the natural products we get from the agriculture, half of the things, more than half of the things we are getting from the agriculture, even from the dairy, fishing, forestry. This sector is also called as the agriculture and related sector. Now the first stage what we are getting from the direct nature, that we can include in the agriculture, or this is a related sector. The secondary sector, after primary sector, after primary, the second stage comes, we call it as a secondary sector. Secondary sector covers activities in which natural products are changed into other forms through ways of manufacturing that we associate with the industrial activity. The first stage, the natural things, when we are sending to the processing factor, we call it as a sector. Processing factor, that means the nature things when we are sending to the industry or a factory, that process we call it as a secondary. It is the next step after the primary. The product is not produced by the nature but has to be made, and therefore some process of manufacturing is required. So secondary activity means the processing thing, that we are changing it into the products. This could be a factory or a workshop or at home. This processing can be taken place either in a factory or the workshop or at home. For example, using cotton fiber. First of all, we are using one of the cotton fiber from the plant, and we spin yarn and weave cloth. The final stage is weaving the cloth using sugar cane. Now another example, sugar cane as a raw material, we make sugar or gur. Everyone knows the gur. We convert earth into bricks. This is also a processing. They convert earth into bricks and use the bricks to make a houses or the building. So different activities are depending on different nature things. Since this sector gradually becomes associated with the different kinds of industries that comes under the industrial sector. So different types of activities which are depending on the processing, that is known as secondary. Now after primary and secondary, the third stage comes. We call it as a tertiary. That falls under tertiary sector and is different from the above two, that is the primary and secondary. Now here it's given, these are activities that help in the development of the primary and secondary sector. Two things are very important to produce the final products, that is a primary and secondary. These activities by themselves do not produce a good, but they are an aid or a support for the production process. Whenever we are putting one thing to the processing process, we are depending on the primary. For example, goods that are produced in a primary or secondary sector would need to be transported by the trucks or trains and then sold it to the wholesale and retail shop. Now first thing, suppose we are sending any goods. First of all, the primary and secondary, whatever, they should need the transport. How we are sending to the third stage. Okay, so here we need a transport by trucks or either by the train. At times it may be necessary to store these in godowns. The primary, secondary, after these goods, when it is reaching to the third stage, all that third stage we have to assemble in a godowns. We also may need to talk to others over telephone or send letters or borrow money from banks. Now these are also activities to help production and trade. Transport, storage, communication, banking, trade are some of the examples of the tertiary. Just underline these three lines. The transport, storage, communication, banking, trade, these are the examples of the tertiary, since these activities generate services rather than the goods. Now they are helping you. The final stage things which we are getting as a helping, that this tertiary sector we call it as a service sector. The third stage, not only the tertiary, we also call it as a service sector. Now if I say what are sectors, sectors are the three groups of economic activities. We call it as a service sector. Now the answer is given on page number 20. The question is, the tertiary sector is also called a service sector. Why? If we are asked this question, service sector, what we are getting at the last stage, also includes some essential services, and that may be not directly help in the production of the goods. For example, we require teachers, doctors, and those who provide personal services such as washermen. We are getting the help from the washermen, barbers, cobblers, lawyers, and people to do administrative and accounting works. In recent times, certain new services based on information technology. Now many of the technology is available, like information technology. We are getting the help from that, and here it's written, such as internet cafe. Most of the things we are getting nowadays are help from the internet. ATM booths, call centers, software companies, etc. have become nowadays as important because they are helping you. They are the basic, they are the main source of the activities. Open page number 21. Page number 21, few of the examples are given of the economic activities. First is already given, right hand side. First is already given the example. Second, you have to read out. Imagine that would happen. You will read up till prices will fall. This sector, how it depends? It depends on primary, depending on secondary. Then third is written here, example, farmers buy many goods, such as it's written up to will be reduced. This we can write as a primary to tertiary. Then third, people working in industrial and services up till to sell their products. This also from tertiary to primary. So they are interlinked each other, primary to secondary and secondary to tertiary. That means tertiary, it's a final stage which they are based on primary and secondary. Now down some of the examples are given. You have to classify yourself which one is tertiary, which one is secondary, and which one is primary. You can do yourself. This is a homework I am giving you. Question number 3. Question number 3, one of the example is given, the list is given. You have to say under which activities these are followed. Now page number 22. Page number 22 is given here. Okay, this I will start next day. Okay, so few questions I will give you that you have to learn. You have to learn by heart and you have to write in your copy.